Okay, so here we are. This is 9.3, and we just recapped 9.1 and 9.2. So 9.1, for the most part, we were finding confidence intervals about a proportion. 9.2, we were finding confidence intervals about a mean. So 9.3, we're going to find confidence intervals about a standard deviation, okay? Which for a sample would be S. Now, what's interesting though is these are in the same bundle as variances. The only difference between a standard deviation and a variance is that the variance is squared, okay? So in order to do the confidence interval, you're still going to use your StatCrunch, and you're going to go to Stat and then Variance Stats. And then, you know, one sample with summary with data, whatever. And I explain those in the homework notes as well. So StatCrunch is set up to do the variance stats, which means when you get your lower and upper limit, it will be for a variance, okay? So something to take note of. If they're asking you to find a confidence interval about the variance, then you just simply do your confidence interval with the variance stats, and whatever the numbers are what you put in for your answer. But if they ask you to find the confidence interval for the standard deviation, then you're going to do it through the variance stats tool, but when you get your two limits, you will take their square roots. So let me say that again. If they want the standard deviation confidence intervals, then you're going to square root those upper and lower limits that you got from your variance stats tool in StatCrunch, okay? And I do go through that pretty specifically on the homework notes. I think there are two questions where they're actually asking for the standard deviation confidence intervals instead of the variance confidence intervals. So pay attention to those words, okay? Especially when it comes to test time, you're going to be looking for those words. Now, just like in 9.2, where we had to use the T calculator because they were assuming you were using the formula, and so we had to go to the T calculator to find some T values. In this section, you're going to use what's called the chi-squared calculator, and maybe I'll just erase this. So the chi-squared calculator, I mean, it works the same way, but it looks like this. It's a big old Greek X with a square. This is the chi-square calculator. And in this case, this is just for you to find some critical values, okay? Just like we had to find the T values in 9.2. So there are a couple questions where it has you use the chi-square calculator to find some critical values. What's interesting is that this curve is not normal. This curve is actually skewed right, and so you'll see it looking like that. It's a little bit interesting. It's really not that hard of a section, I don't think. But the main thing is for you to kind of separate in your brain what we're doing. We're doing 9.1 is proportions, 9.2 is means, and 9.3 is technically variances, but that also includes the subset of standard deviation, because a variance is just the standard deviation squared, okay? So hopefully I didn't confuse you too much. For 9.3, it has to come from a normal population, just FYI. It has to come from a normal population. So you don't have those other criteria that you have to worry about. You can't be like, oh, well, if it's big enough, then blah, blah, blah. No, it has to come from a normal population. So just try to remember that. Okay, so that's it. And I'll talk to you guys next time.